play hard. Soccer is the passion of Brazil. The sandy athletes in this game will take this same intensity with them when they go to Rio's Maracanã Stadium, the world's largest, with room for over 200,000 fans. It's about as impossible to resist becoming involved in a game under these conditions as it is to resist a tidal wave. Emotion surges, and each play of the ball is an event of insuperable importance. But there are other facets of Rio. There is a tranquility possible here as well. In the Tijuca forest, on a cable car suspended between the peaks of Sugarloaf Mountain. Or in the botanical gardens, where palm-lined paths wander among over 8,000 species of cataloged plants. These fragile blooms are found in the orchid house. And this temptation for some unwary insect is in the carnivorous plant house. There are also examples of economic plants, such as vanilla, cinnamon, coffee, and exotics like coca, perhaps the world's most controversial plant, and thousands of flowers of every shape and color. History lives in Rio. The Municipal Theater is modeled on the Paris Opera House, an exact replica, though on a somewhat smaller scale. This is a place where the old and new meet, though some look dwarfed by comparison. Rio was founded on New Year's Day in 1502, when Portuguese sailors arrived and mistook the bay for a river which they called Rio de Janeiro, or the River of January. Rio was a capital of the southern part of Brazil, as well as the refuge for Portugal's royal family when they fled from Napoleon in 1807. It is a city of transitions. This aqueduct, the Arcos da Lapa, built in 1750 to bring water from the hills, now serves as a track bed for the streetcars going up the hills to the Santa Teresa district, up to the hills, to the favelas, which are the site of the famous samba schools, the neighborhood associations that give Rio the music and the costumed dancers who parade through the samba-drome during Carnival. From the poverty of the favelas that cling to the hillsides comes the energy and color for the event that makes Rio famous the world over. For the 5 days before Ash Wednesday each year, the city of Rio throws away its clocks and its calendars and puts on its most splendid dress for an annual plunge into hedonism, dance, and spectacle. Everything in Rio takes on a carnival air. Here at the crafts fair, people come from all across the city, and everyone has something to buy or to sell. At the San Cristobal flea market, immigrants from the Northeast arrive each Sunday to renew old friendships and have a good time. Every sense is tempted here, tantalized by the sights, the sounds, and everywhere the aromas of food cooked over sizzling hot coals. This is the barbecued beef for which Brazil is justly famous. Feijoada is a typical Brazilian meal of black beans simmered with a variety of meats and served with rice, collard greens, and mandioca. Brazilians eat a lot of beef, and with good reason. The pampas in the south of Brazil are ideal for raising top-quality cattle. Here in the southern region, beef is served in the traditional Brazilian barbecue, or churrascaria, beef served on a sword. Here in the Southland, alongside the cattle, lives the Brazilian gaucho, the poncho-wearing, mate-drinking, silver-spurred Brazilian cowboy, a survivor and hero of his own legend. To live free as the bird that cleaves the sky was the goal of Martin Fierro, the literary hero of the epic poem of the Pampas. And it is the goal still of his real-life descendants, the present-day gaucho. Like our cowboy, the gaucho is an individualist who survives by skill and courage, riding across plains so expansive he must depend, like a sailor, on the Southern Cross in the night sky for direction. The gaucho life is not reserved only for men. Women, called gauchas, are part of the gaucho culture. In fact, here, everyone is a gaucho. This is not only the land of the gaucho, but the home of a people who have held on to their European roots, recreating the old world in the new. The Southland was congenial to these settlers from Europe. It is the only region of Brazil with 4 distinct seasons, looking every bit like the European countryside, except for the palm trees. The town of Gramado looks very German, which isn't surprising because German immigrants settled here in 1824 and developed a prosperous agricultural economy. In fact, this part of Brazil retains a European way of life that seems to have almost disappeared in Europe. But the southern region isn't only a land of agriculture. It is a region of natural wonders as well. These wind-sculpted spires of red sandstone resemble the ruins of some ancient civilization, its greatness reduced by time, and the name given to these natural monuments, Villa Velha, means just that, ancient city. Itenbagino Canyon is a dramatic 5-mile wide fault, cleaved by geological movement. Feathery waterfalls descend to a private Eden between these fern-covered walls. Geology has given the southern region another curiosity, the furnas, cavities in the earth created when the ceilings of subterranean rivers collapsed. To ride down this elevator is to fall into a fairy tale world of deep green pools at the bottom of a giant well. Nothing, however, can prepare anyone for what is to come. Iguazu Falls overwhelms all expectations. Present at these falls is to have the sensation of being present on one of the days of creation. There are more than 275 separate falls, each higher than Niagara here. And visitors can choose from a variety of vantage points, or fly above in a helicopter. The Argentine side offers a tantalizingly precarious view from the very edge of this immense crevasse. On the Brazil side, there are a series of platforms, each with a different view, and all easily accessible by foot from the historic Tropical Hotel. It's good to experience the wilderness, but to be able to bring civilization along is almost too good to be true. Far to the north, in the lush forests of Brazil's northmost region, the same comforts await the traveler at the famous Hotel Tropical in Manaus, a place where the mysterious world of the Amazon waits just beyond the gate. The Amazon forest, which blankets 40% of Brazil's territory, is more than just an exotic travel destination. It plays a vital role in the health of our planet. Its greenery generates 50% of the world's supply of oxygen, and the living jungle helps maintain the critical balance of gases in the Earth's atmosphere. This tropical rainforest is the home to more than 1,800 species of birds and several hundred species of mammals, and more than 1,500 species of aquatic creatures inhabit its countless miles of waterways. To men trying to conquer the jungle, the rainforest appears almost indestructible. But this overwhelming forest is actually a most delicate and fragile ecosystem. The life of the forest is protected by the heavy leafy canopy and the dense mat of roots below. These roots are all that holds the thin layer of soil that nourishes and holds the jungle. When large sections of forest are destroyed for short-term agriculture or grazing, the thin layer of topsoil washes away in the frequent rains, leaving only barren rock. And though the jungle is so large that it seems like a limitless resource, thousands of acres are being lost this way every day. As more and more people become aware of the fragile beauty of this largest of all jungles, there appears a new hope that the unrivaled pageant of rare animals, brilliant birds, and strange creatures that make their homes among these exotic plants will indeed continue. The gateway city to any excursion into the Amazon is Manaus. Manaus was born as a result of the great Brazilian rubber boom, a boom that began with the discovery of the rubber tree here in the heart of the jungle. With its great plantations of trees yielding a sap that could be turned into rubber, the Amazon became the world's largest producer of natural rubber by the end of the 19th century. The wealth of the rubber boom created a thriving city in the heart of the wilderness that could only be reached by a 1,000-mile ride up the Amazon River. With the completion of its majestic neoclassic opera house in 1896, Manaus became a unique cultural oasis. But today, another boom is taking place here. Manaus is not only the jumping-off point for visitors into the interior, but it is also a busy free trade zone where manufactured goods can enter the country exempt of import duty. Shoppers come here from all over to take advantage of bargains in everything from perfume to electronics. Manaus is also the busy port for a region where the main transportation system is the Amazon River and its tributaries. These classic Amazon riverboats function not only as people movers, but transport virtually everything that comes into and out of the jungle. The river is not just the basis for transportation, but for food as well. There are over 1,500 varieties of fish in these seemingly endless waters, and the local diet consists largely of fish caught by the local fishermen. One of the many unusual sights along the river near Manaus is the famed wedding of the waters. Here the dark waters of the Rio Negro meet but do not merge with the heavy muddy waters of the Solimos until 5 miles downriver, where they finally blend to form the coffee-colored Amazon. This is also the spot where the pink freshwater dolphins can often be seen frolicking along the swirling line dividing the rivers. At this point, it is hard to imagine that this huge body of water began as a trickle thousands of miles away on the slopes of the Andes, and that before it reaches its destination, it will become like an inland sea. At the mouth of the Amazon, on Guajara Bay, is Belém, an important port linking Brazil with North America. Founded in 1616, its name means Bethlehem. Belém is the site of the old Vero-Peju market. It means see the weight, named after the large scales used to weigh the fish that are landed nearby. The market is a huge commercial center where each day at dawn, a colorful fleet of riverboats bring fresh fish, produce, and local crafts to sell. In these stalls, you may find anything from magic potions to snake skins, dried toads, and alligator teeth. South of Belém, on the Atlantic coast, lies Fortaleza, a sparkling seacoast city surrounded by beautiful sandy beaches. Fortaleza is known as the home of unusual local crafts. The colored sands found along the beaches south of town form the basis of this unusual art form. Here, Aida Crisostomo creates fantastic miniature landscapes by placing sand collected by her husband into glass bottles with almost infallible artistry and precision. This is also a town of lace making, a nearly forgotten art brought to Brazil from Europe. These delicate webs fly from the skilled fingers of the women of Fortaleza, while their husbands fish far out at sea for days at a time in these tiny but most reliable sailing craft known as jangadas. In the late afternoons, as the sunlight deepens to amber, the sculpted ridges of the dunes become ski slopes. This local pastime was invented by the kids here and is not quite as easy as it looks. Fishing and lace making, though ancient and venerable skills, are no longer economically viable for many of Brazil's northern people. A relentless period of drought and economic misfortune during the 1980s has driven a constant stream of immigrants from the northeast to the south, to the busy city of Sao Paulo. This is Brazil's Big Apple. Sao Paulo is the commercial, industrial, and economic center, not just of Brazil, but of all South America. With a population of over 10 million, it's actually the third largest city in the world. Sao Paulo is where people come to work, to make it, and they bring to the city an energy, a pace, and a rhythm that even a New Yorker would find hard to surpass. People here are driven by a passion to consume, and there are enough goods on display to keep anyone motivated. Almost everything that can be produced by man is produced in Sao Paulo. There are over 80,000 factories in Sao Paulo, employing over 2 million people. And when the pace slows, there is always another cup of cafezinho to pick it up again. Coffee comes thick and rich in a demi-tasse cup filled with sugar to the halfway mark. In Brazil, you can't get a large coffee or a small beer. The Avenida Paulista, the main thoroughfare, was once lined with the mansions of rich coffee plantation owners. Today, the only mansions still standing among the gleaming skyscrapers are the ones that have found a way to conform to the modern world. Sao Paulo is home to South America's largest banks, as well as its finest city with an international flavor. The world's largest Japanese population outside of Tokyo resides here, and Japantown is their cultural hub, as well as a place for visitors to enjoy the finer aspects of Japanese culture. The vast concrete and steel sprawl of the city is broken with countless oases of green. The Zoological Gardens is one of the 7 major zoos in the world, with thousands of animals from all the regions of Brazil. And if the wild animals of Brazil are not enough, the Simba Safari Park provides automobile safaris through acres of jungle habitat, where the people are in cages, while the animals are free to roam among them. 39 miles from Sao Paulo is Santos, Brazil's busiest port. This is a spot of magnificent beaches and breathtaking views from a vantage point on the crest of a mountain served by a precipitously steep cable car system. From here, you can reflect on a quieter past, characterized by graceful churches and cobblestone streets, or watch the bustling activity as millions of tons of goods move in and out of South America's largest seaport. There is another story to Sao Paulo besides the thriving port, the glistening buildings, and the ever-expanding middle class. That story is best illustrated by the favelas and the mansions that coexist throughout Brazil. There is still a great deal of poverty in Brazil. Although the economy is growing, there is great unemployment, and social programs are difficult because Brazil still must use its vitally important capital to service a tremendous international debt. Today, by expanding more moderately and by broadening its economic base and moving rapidly toward economic self-sufficiency, this forward-looking country hopes to bring the prosperity that it is capable of producing to all of its people, no matter how remote they may be. It was this intent to increase Brazil's prosperity by opening the interior to development that led to the creation of one of the most dramatic cities in the world, Brasilia. The new Brazilian capital is a vision of the future made real in concrete, steel, and glass. Rising from the plains of the Central Highlands, Brasilia seems like a mirage against the tropical sky that here seems bluer than elsewhere. It is not a mirage, however. It is quite substantial, a new city, completely planned. The public buildings were designed by Brazil's most eminent architect, Oscar Niemeyer, and the landscaping by Bula Marx. And the overall effect is like a trip into the future. Brasilia remembers its past, but more importantly, it looks forward to Brazil's promising future. Juscelino Kubitschek, the president who proposed and guided the building of Brasilia, knew that Brazil was a land of great potential waiting to be realized. A land with the natural and human resources to eventually become one of the world's great nations. This monument commemorates his speech to the nation on October 2nd, 1956. As I cast my eyes once again over the future of my country, he said, I foresee a new sun dawning with an unbreakable faith and a limitless trust in its great destiny.